Good afternoon. My name is Joshua Gilstrap, and this is the CannaHub Webinar, where we are going to show you how E2B Technologies is connecting cannabis and what that can do in your business. Today, I am joined by three of our E2B Tech team members: John Moss, our VP of Customer Success, Lynn Hensley, our COO, and Tyler Avinsky, our Sales Manager. And together we will kind of paint a picture for what our offering is and how it may be able to help you in your business. I'll lead it off with our COO, Lynn Hensley, as she will explain kind of the history behind E2B Technologies and how we moved into the space.
Well, hello, everyone, and thank you for joining our session today. My name is Lynn Hensley, as Joshua said. I'm the president and COO at E2B Technologies. I just did want to spend a couple minutes and talk to you about who E2B Technologies is, what do we do, what have we done, and how did we get where we are today. We're a 30-plus year software developer, integrator, reseller, and implementer of business application software. Historically, our focus has been in the manufacturing and distribution industries, but over the course of our business life, we have worked with thousands of customers in almost every business sector you can imagine. It's that depth of experience that we bring to the cannabis space. For the last 4 years, we have been working with cannabis companies from startups to MSOs, helping them get the most out of their business applications, thus allowing those companies to focus on what they do best, making and selling products that they build and distribute. The cannabis industry has unique reporting and regulatory constraints, and it provided us an opportunity to assist these customers with software tools that would allow them to access their data quickly, accurately, and from a centralized location. We really are excited about the industry. We're excited about our ability to help the folks in this industry, and we really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to join us for this webinar to learn a little bit about what we do and some of the things we have to offer. So with that, we can move on. We have a couple things to consider when we're considering what we can do for a customer. Typically, we would go in, we would spend some time talking to a customer or prospect to see exactly how we might be able to best serve them. Some of the things that we might ask when we're visiting with a customer is how many software applications that they might be using today. In some cases, they're not using a store-bought application, but they may be using Word or Excel to manage their business. How much time are customers spending sifting through or re-entering their data? We know that there's regulatory requirements. Are they having to look through a lot of data, move it from one location to another location so that they can compare and make accurate business decisions? And the other thing might be is, do your software applications, do they speak to each other? So are they siloed? Or are they working together, communicating together? And so all of these questions help us understand how best we can serve you.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Lynn. And digging more specifically into what our offering can do to answer those questions, we're going to turn it over to Tyler Avinsky.
Great. Thanks, Josh, and thanks, Lynn. And also a big thank you to everyone who's joining us today. We appreciate you taking the time here. So as mentioned earlier and advertised for this webinar particularly, we're going to be really focusing in on just one single component of what our broader CannaSuite offering is. And that component is the CannaHub. But before we get into that and all of the good information that we've put together, I wanted to spend a little bit of time going over something that I'm really excited about, and that is the CannaSuite offering as a whole. So this CannaSuite offering is our platform offering. And as Lynn mentioned earlier, this is really something that completely differentiates us as compared to what else is out there on the market. So having been in the space as long as we have, we really have a deep understanding of business as a whole, operations, and how software can either hinder or help these operations. So what we saw and what we still do see a lot of is a functional and fundamental lacking with the software platforms that are both being promoted and utilized in the industry. And this is the case for really all extremes that you can think of. So whether it be, as Lynn mentioned, some siloed, half-baked, disparate systems that are maybe working in a way to cover some certain tasks, but really not working together. It's a platform that is advertised as being an all-inclusive platform, offers end-to-end means, but in turn finds out it doesn't. So nicely put, what we've really seen is that there's a lot of softwares out there on the market with a very little value add provided by the majority of them in the current manner that they're being utilized. So this is really where we bring our experience in. So we understand that different operations and styles of business naturally have a different need, and that in most instances, the requirements and actual use cases vary from business to business. So instead of forcing a one-size-fits-all methodology, we found other industry-leading platforms that specialize in their distinct niche offering and look to integrate to them. So by means of integration, we created a best-in-class suite-based platform to offer these needs and meet these needs here. This is what makes up our CannaSuite offering, and it is a fully integrated, best-of-breed solution that is made up of an a la carte style functionality offering, and that we pick what is needed and choose where and when it is needed. So we cover all of the major business needs, some of which you'll be able to see in the circle around the graphic on the slide here. And one of the most appealing aspects to this is that it's meant to be grown into. So this one size fits all really is the case here. Some aspects of what you see here may not pertain to you currently at this time, but it's meant to be grown into. You will not outgrow this platform, but you'll simply grow into more of it. But focusing in on exactly what we're looking to discuss today, you'll see at the center of the nice visual that Josh put together is the CannaHub. So this is really the glue that brings everything together. And the hub acts as a nucleus to the suite, if you will, and it's meant to control and connect your business. So before we get into more of the CannaHub, I have a couple more slides that I get to go through here with you. So this next one here that we're looking at currently is made up of what the combined effort is in making the CannaSuite. So our CannaSuite is made up of a collection of what you see here. And at the end of the day, we pride ourselves on being software agnostic. So this is just to name a few, but we are by no means limited to anything that you see here. This is just simply what we look to grab and just calling out a few platforms that we're currently working our partnerships with to support our clients on. So what furthermore makes this possible really is the fact that we have an in-house team of developers and integration experts that day in and day out, this is all they do. They work on projects and connecting platforms and just really making sure that the existing and needed, the needed background is there to make these work together. So you may say, what's the significance to this? This really is a huge value add that we have to offer as we enter a business partnership and bring to every engagement. That's our integration history and experience that we have. So beyond this, if there's a solution that you have in place that you're currently working with, and you love that it handles some aspect of your operation, let's talk about it. Let's take a deeper look into how we can make that as a part of the suite, integrate to that, and make it even better for you. So naturally, you're probably thinking, how does this work? What's making this work? So we are going to go over, and I have here a couple of primary types of connectors that we offer that power and make up what we'll be digging into today. So those are application, compliance, and reporting connectors. Just starting from the top here at application connectors, these are more or less a set of bi-directional integrations that connect different softwares or platform components utilizing their unique and relevant data. So this is exactly the definition of the best of breed, what our platform is based off of. So these are the connections that would say, for example, if you're utilizing QuickBooks, maybe a Sage product, LeafLogix, Wherefore, or your state regulatory platform, and any combination, that connection between them is what the application connector is. And that's what in turn makes up our CannaSuite offering. The next is the compliance connector. And this is really an exciting piece that we started things with. It's an integration or connection to your state level compliance platform. And we initially created this solely for the purpose of meeting the needs of regulatory processes, but quickly found there is much more value in it than just this. So we started with the need with Metric. We started and developed our integration to Metric. So our platform is Metric approved, certified, and integrated. But beyond this, as the connector launched, we quickly found that the value beyond just remaining compliant is there. We found that there's an incredible time savings to be had in eliminating the manual efforts associated with keeping Metric up to date, but also that there are very robust means of reporting within this. So not to get too much into the compliance connector, I'll jump to the reporting connector, which is really for our data people out there. So this is a tool that provides a single source of truth for report writing, report generation, analytics, and business insights, and all the like. So in the entirety, these are the different connectors that we have out there that make up what is needed for our CannaHub. So now what we're all here for is our CannaHub. Displayed here, you'll see just a few examples of some siloed business segments, some needs, and maybe some platforms that I'm sure most of you are familiar with hearing and seeing before out there. And what sits above that you'll see is our CannaHub, connected by our connectors that we just spoke through. So essentially the CannaHub is a cloud-based data repository that is built to offer insights into all aspects of your business via one single source of truth. And this is all made possible by what we just spoke about, the connectors, which allows you to connect data and have information flowing in real time to the cloud-based platform. There really are endless use cases for what the CannaHub has to offer. It's further being developed day in and day out by our clients and our team, and further use cases are continuing to be found. But for the sake of time today, we just put together a couple examples to show you some of the very recent examples here of what our clients are currently utilizing the platform for. So without further ado, I'll turn it over to John to get into some actual use case examples of what we're experiencing and what we have to offer.
Thanks, Tyler. My name is John Moss. I am the VP of Customer Success over here at E2B. And as this slide shows, the silos is something that I think every cannabis company is dealing with. A lot of different applications out there, a lot of different functions and things and needs, and then the inability to have all that information in one place. So the CannaHub will allow us to do that. You know, it allows E2B to pull all that information in from all these disparate systems and then give it to you, the customer, in a way that makes it easily reviewed and easily shared. So what we'll go into the first, we're going to start going over some case studies or case reference cases of things that we've done for a few of our customers. We've written some reports. The reports that I'm going to show you today were written in Power BI, though you can use any kind of analytic service or software to provide the similar information, depending on what you have or what you're using today. So if we can go to the next slide. So what we did is, working with some of our customers, we've run into some scenarios or situations where they're trying to get information out of their system in a way that is helpful, but is not very easily done. So in this use case, they're struggling to pull information from multiple sites over multiple states to see sales revenue by state, by dispensary, by bud tender. So what we've done is we took our CannaHub and we've used that to generate a report. So the report you'll see here on the next screen, this is showing multiple or by date or by month, I should say, by state, by dispensary, and by bud tender. So you can see at a glance what areas are doing, what dispensaries are doing well, what dispensaries may need a little more focus. And then at those dispensaries, what bud tender may be doing very well and those that may be struggling. So you can simply click on well, in this case, we'll click on the port 12 dispensary, and then you can drill in and drill down into this information and see what at a more in-depth level of what's going on at that dispensary. This gives great visibility, just simply clicking through a couple drill-ins to be able to see what's going on without having to look at a spreadsheet, Excel spreadsheet, and also be able to share this information with those important folks in your business. The next case that we're going to talk about is showing yield by growth site, by room, by plant variant. Another area that again, having multiple rooms, multiple grow facilities is sometimes very cumbersome and difficult to see what you have and where you have it. So the next slide we put together, or the next report we put together, was used for being able to pull by warehouse. What we have here in this example, in our example data, is Michigan and Ohio. So here you can pull information from those warehouses and then look at actually drill into the plant variant and then see what's located in that room. So indicator here is what we're seeing here is those variants, those plant variants at the warehouse locations in Michigan, and then the quantity on hand for each of those plant sources. So, plant strains. And then our last example here is something that I think is kind of unique to the cannabis industry, is the ability to when having their product tested, using that information to make decisions on what the product will be used for, the raw materials that are used for that product. So what we've done here is we're pulling information from, in this case, it's the compliance data. It's coming from Metric, and it's going to give us the end user the ability to see what THC levels are for certain products, so that we can make decisions based on what materials we have, at what levels their testing came in, or test results were, to what products we can produce. So you'll see here along the top, we have a slicer that allows the end user to go in and put in a range. So 20.61 to 23.55 is the range that we selected. And then that shows us in the grid below what products that we have, what source harvest we have, the quantity on hand, and what those THC potencies are. So then if we click on the Southside Johnny 4, it actually drills in further, shows us that specific package. And then along with that, at the bottom, you can see all the other tests aside from THC levels that were performed on this product. Now, these are just a few of the reports that we've put together for our customers that are using it. But as Tyler said earlier, the opportunities for this are endless. There's a lot of other reports we have that we don't have enough time to show you today, but it's also, if there's something that you have that may be specific to your business, we'd be willing to talk to you about it and tailor something that would work best for you. So what I'd like to say kind of in summary is that our CannaHub is a data repository. It contains all the relevant data to run your business, and it's all in one place. So, and it's a single source of truth. We ran into a situation recently where one of our customers was getting this test data that I showed you on that last slide from the actual test lab. And what we were finding out, and we're not even sure why, but we found in certain circumstances that the information pulled from Metric, their compliance software, and the results they were getting from the test lab were different, which, of course, caused a huge impact at their business. So we, being a Metric certified partner, we're able to pull that information directly from Metric and give them a single source of truth. So that way they know the information that they get is the end all be all result, and again, what they're looking for. So thank you.
Thank you, John. Really appreciate the insight into some of those use cases, and they're really great examples of what I believe a lot of us in the industry, a lot of our customers are bringing to the table. So I did have some questions that I want to throw out there that I was, kind of coming through as you were speaking. So how often, we talk about real time, how often is the data updated into our CannaHub, into our data repository? Like, is it a kind of a continuous cycle, or is there a, twice a day type of thing, or what does that look like?
Well, that's entirely up to the customer. It could be something that we do in the evening, every night, or in the morning. They could do it throughout the day. It really depends on the report that you're using. Some reports, maybe not much changes from a day-to-day basis, so they want to do it, once in the evening. Or maybe it's something where you're checking quantities and things could be changing, per a shift if you've got different shifts, or just different times of day. So really, it's completely up to the customer.
And adding to that, when you're talking about specific reports, how easy is it to add additional companies, additional, pieces of drill down and things like that, strains of flowers, things like that, like when you're building your reports, to add to them later once the report is built?
Well, the beauty of CannaHub is because we have all the data accessible to us, we're just simply limited to whatever you require. Once as a customer you determine what your need is, then it's not very hard at all to provide that information in a way that makes sense. And then of course being able to drill into the information to kind of get into the detail obviously has a lot of advantages. And so in general, it depends on certain things, criteria as always, but it's not very difficult at all.
And regarding the reports themselves, is it more of a what's the learning curve on that? For instance, like if I was a company owner on the client side, you were building these reports for me, is this something you would show me? Is this something I would just ask you for on a regular, or how does that look?
Well, I think, as a developer for all these years, I think that really depends on you, right? The end user depends on the skill set of the team that they have. If they don't have that skill set, that's obviously something that we'd be happy to handle for them. If they have the skill set, then it's something that we could talk about in a way of determining ways to access the CannaHub and their data. So yeah, it is possible if they have somebody in-house that knows how to access or develop in Power BI, for example. I'm sure it's something that they could be taught and trained.
Somebody could essentially on their end build their own reports.
Correct.
Customize them once they know how.
Correct.
Wonderful. And this is I know that we a lot of talk these days is the subscription models and things like that. And is that, maybe Tyler can speak to that? Is there how does this look from a subscription model standpoint?
Yeah, so this is based off of an annual subscription. You're exactly correct. It's tailored and configured by the use case needed, right? So we kind of mentioned that it's an a la carte based module system. So we're going to look into what type of people need access to what modules, and that's how we come up with what the subscription looks like.
Perfect. Let me double check, since I don't, does anybody else have any kind of closing thoughts that they want to leave with the audience?
Yeah, I actually did have a comment to make, and it was to a point that Tyler made earlier about the growth of the cannabis space itself. And what I found in these companies that we're working with, so, when they may start off pretty small as a startup thinking about what they're doing, but once they go heads down and they have passed all their regulatory requirements and they are licensed, it seems like they're like a rocket ship. They just take off and they are laser focused on trying to run their business. And so really all of this came out of the result of us trying to find ways that we can help these companies do things like spin up additional companies, bring into the fold additional data that they maybe didn't have last month or last year, and allow them to be able to really focus on what they're doing, but still have that data available to them real time so they can make the types of business decisions that they need to do. Businesses, and when you're a high growth company, you really need to be looking at everything from a proactive standpoint. The last thing you want to be doing is reacting to everything that's going on in your organization. And by having data siloed, it makes it difficult to be reactive. So when we're able to combine the data, they can mix and match, slice and dice. The guys on the production floor are going to use one subset of the data. Finance is going to be using another subset of the data, likely because they're looking for VC funding, or they have to be able to provide special, very specific reports to the people that they're reporting to from a financial standpoint. So again, this was all to help these high growth companies. And what I just don't want to do is exclude the startups or the smaller companies, because frankly, it's at that phase that we'd really like to help you build a good foundation today so that you can experience that accelerated growth that we know is going to come and help you be successful.
It's great insight. Anyone else?
Yeah, just to echo what Lynn said, I totally agree with that. That some of the biggest problems and burdens that we see with our clients are coming from not getting started soon enough, right? Your business grows and gets to a stage where you outgrow what you're currently on. It makes it that much harder to recreate the wheel instead of starting with the foundation and growing with us here. So I really think that that's what I'm most excited about. One of the pieces that I'm very excited about is just seeing that this is a platform to grow with, and the value is there to start with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Great point, Tyler. And we have firsthand experience with that, right?
Yep.
Do over 30 years. Well, we all hope you enjoyed our webinar that we've offered today. And if it spoke to you, please scan the QR code on the lower left of the screen there. It'll take you to our request a demo page. And that's really just a way that we can continue the conversation. We will be passing out this deck to our registrants for them to take a look at and dig into. And we really look forward to answering any questions and connecting with some of you in the near future. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you, Josh.